blessed. I've been doing it for 30 years.
You ever been discriminated against?
Have I ever been discriminated
Coming from where you
against?
come from.
Absolutely.
And going where you've gone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But discrimination takes a lot of different forms. For the most part, I think everybody gets presumed to be something. I think race discrimination is just something that it just comes with being who I am. I think the discrimination that honestly has been the most harmful for me has been like discrimination in the sense of like, not only am I just black, but I'm a poor black kid who doesn't have the traditional intellect that you would associate with, someone who performs at a high level. So not only am I black, but I'm a black kid from the hood who went to public schools and probably is like completely affirmative action, DEI higher. And then I revel in it. Like it's the best part of my life because if you did a postmortem and looked at my history of my life, my past is riddled with the bones of people who thought that I was sweet for it from an educational perspective. I will read faster than you. I will write faster than you. I will speak better than you. I will smoke you and put you in a blender in every potential possible aspect of everything that we're competing at. But you think that because I went to John Bartram High School that I don't read good. And they quickly find out that that is not the case. So have I been discriminated against? To my benefit.
So I haven't seen Kevin in about 10 years. I might have seen him in passing maybe once, but about 10 years ago we was on a panel discussion. This is when I was in my heavy community activist bag. I had my locks, Black Power guy. I was at CCP at the time. I was the leader of the Black Student Union as well. And he came up on the panel discussion. This is when somebody got killed. This is when
probably like around Trayvon Martin time.
Yes, around that time was right. So we had speakers coming up to talk about what was going on in the city. So today I seen the first time he evolved his title. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But that time he was assistant DA.
Yeah, assistant district attorney.
Assistant district attorney at that time. And at that time I had a real problem with that. Cause I'm like, hey, you from the community, you're a black man. I'm like, are you like prosecuting the people that's doing the crime, or are you trying to help us? And at that time, I was more so in some like, you should be defendant, and my ignorance and passion. But then we had a good debate, and I seen that it was a need for him. And then, this is what you don't know, 10 years later, drug music, people dying heavy. And this would be like, sometimes they'd be like, yo, they be needing some hard sentences. We need to get them. Then Larry Krasner came, and he got his models, and he killing them. So I want to talk to you about how was it being a young black DA at that time period, and looking at it from that time period to where it's at now?
I mean, I would say that first and foremost, like the idea for me being a DA came from one of my old heads that was in the streets, heavy in the streets, my man Fresh. He's like, man, if you want to be a good criminal defense lawyer, youngin, you gotta go be like McMonagle and them. You gotta go be a DA first. Like it was all about a bag from his perspective. I went to law school wanting to be a criminal defense attorney. That's what I wanted to do. Then I went into law school. It was 2007. So appreciate you. So it's 2007. I go into law school, and I didn't know what law school was. I didn't know what law was. I just knew I wanted to be a lawyer. I was coming out of the system. I beat my last case in 2006. I got shot 5 times in 2006. I started law school August 2007. So. And I beat my last case. I got shot January 15, 2006. I beat my last case like January 25th, 2006. And then I was in the application process for law school, and then I got admitted to law school May of 2007.
Oh, so you got shot, and you was like, all right, I got shot, I'm gonna go prosecute these niggas.
No.
That was my question.
No.
You got shot. Instead of going to shoot these niggas back.
Who said they didn't get shot back?
I ain't say shit.
Well, I mean, you presumed.
I presume on the one side, shit.
Listen, this ain't Vlad. I ain't telling on myself on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what y'all talking about, but this ain't that. Okay, you talking about something you ain't going. Instead of shooting them back, this is not Vlad. I am not telling on myself on the podcast. I ain't never did nothing to nobody. No, what happened is I got shot, and both my parents had cancer. I mean, my mom died a year after I got shot from cancer. My mom died 07, my dad died 09. It was a reality check of like, yo, cuz, what is you doing?
Right.
And I tell this story, I go up to Youth Study Center all the time to speak to kids, and I tell them, I'm like, yo, when they blow the whistle, when you step out of bounds in the streets, it's jail or death. Or serious bodily injury. Right. Like when you step out of bounds on, it's all types of games you can play. You can be in Wall Street. You can be in medicine. In medicine, you step out of bounds, you get hit with a medical malpractice lawsuit. Right. That's what I do. You know what I mean? You're a cop, you step out of bounds. We working very hard to make sure that when cops step out of bounds, they actually have a penalty. They didn't have no penalty when they stepped out of bounds. But it's all these different games in the world that you can play that when you step out of bounds, there's a penalty. Do the sorts of things that black men do. Our economy, our world that we live in, the harshest penalties are for when we step out of bounds. Right. So, you know, you can have somebody DUI, crash their car, almost kill people. They get a couple of days in jail. Young boy walking down the street with 7 grams of crack, 2 years in jail. And the question is like, well, which one is worse? And they was like, well, crack kills people. DUI kills people too. So why 3 days instead of 2 years on the first offense? Right. I wish I knew all of that when I decided to become a DA. I literally got advice from an old head that was like, yo, you want to be like Brian McMonagle and them. You want to be like Fred Perry and them. State Property was out, right? Fred Perry was in State Property 2 representing Beanie Siegel. That was like that's what I wanted to be in life. Wow. I wanted to be the lawyer for State Property. Right. When State Property 2 came out and Fred Perry was in that first scene with Beans, I was like, because you got to realize, 03, 04, 05, 06, we coming off the AI era, we coming off the state property era. The center of the universe was Philadelphia. Like Beyonce, Joel Santana, Jay-Z, they sitting in the criminal justice center. And so for me, like, you would go to court and you'd be standing in line in the CJC and then Jay-Z would walk by. And it's like, that's what AI was in court. I mean, these people, you go out to the club, the people who was running around with the ball players, Jameer Nelson and all them from Chester, they had just got done doing their thing for St. Joe's. It was a really fun time to be in the city. So what ends up happening is like, I go to law school and the opportunity, listen, the economy crashes in 08. Okay. I was going to try to do corporate law. I started to understand how to be, like, I come into law school, I don't know nothing. I don't know it's a competition of reading and writing. I had no clue. I didn't know the best law students were the people who could read the most and write the best. No clue. I didn't know. I thought I was going to be in there having a debate. That's what I thought law school was. I thought law school was going to be a debate class. Wow. I had no clue. I didn't know what law school.
That's what I thought
law school is you sit in a library with a book for 12 hours a day and then go to class and the teacher asks you questions over and over again. And then you do it again and you hope that they don't ask you questions the next day. It's literally 99% reading and writing. Because people paying you to think. That's what you're doing. You're getting paid to do the shit nobody else want to do. Right. You know, you open up your iPhone right now and it say your iPhone update, hit this disclaimer, and here's all the new rules, all the waivers and stuff. You don't read that. You scroll to the bottom and you hit done. Yeah. Lawyers write that.
Right.
Lawyers write that. That's, you know how annoying that probably is. That's why somebody pay us a bunch of money to do it. But the point I was making is that I get to law school and I do the same thing I do everything else. When I was in the streets, I'll never forget, Oya asked me, I like hit either gambling, and I don't really gamble, but I come up on some money some way. And Oya asked me, what you doing with your money? I know you about to go cop a wheel. I was like, I'm putting in with y'all. Everything I do, I look at who my competition is, and I don't ever want to sit at a table anywhere. I don't ever want to walk in a club. I don't want to sit at a table. I don't want to walk into a car dealership and see somebody else that spend the same amount of time and money spend the same amount of time that I do on something and get paid more than I do. I don't ever want to be the one getting finessed. I don't ever want somebody, if you selling me a 7 for $250 and making money off of it, that means that it's a way to get a 7 for cheaper. You know what I mean? If you selling me a 4.5 soft and that's making you money, that means that I can figure out a way to make get the 4.5 solved for how much you're paying for it.
Right.
That's always been my approach to everything I do in my life, from hustling to law. Okay. So when I'm in law school, I'm like, so where are you going to work? They're like, well, I'm about to go make, I never forget, my man was like, yeah, my lawyer charged $100 an hour. I was like, wow, what lawyers charge $100? I get to law school, I start meeting lawyers that charge $800 an hour. This lawyer's charging $3,000 an hour now. And it's like, when I hear that, I'm like, well, I need to figure out how to charge $3,500 an hour.
Right.
Because there's no way I'm gonna sit in a room and the bull sitting across from me is charging $3,000 an hour and I'm charging $500 an hour. Right. And we both sitting there for an hour. Okay. I feel like, what do you do that I didn't? Now I'm starting to understand some of them dudes, they got credentials that's like, they can call Barack Obama and get him to make a statement. Some people want to get paid. I mean, if you want me to call Barack, it's gonna cost you. So that's the game. And once I started understanding the game, I started being like, yo, I gotta drop this not radical mindset, because it was never radical, it was street. It was like, I just want to come here and hustle. And it was like, no.
That's a good perspective.
It was like, yo, you gotta do what you need to do. He said, listen, you got some shit with you. And I'm like, what you mean? He's like, you have a credibility issue that you're never going to overcome unless you demonstrate to people that you have integrity. You used to sell dope, nigga. Like you've been to jail, you've been shot. People think you shot people. People think I'm gonna come on a podcast and tell them like, yeah, it was a nigga named Kevin with the Mac 11. Like,